open up my own business and line of beauty products. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Lanaya.
It's nothing. It's really nothing to tell. I mean, that's it. I want to finish high school, go to cosmetology school, open up my own shop, and continue to sell my lip gloss, my eyelashes. That's really it.
Oh, you want eyelashes?
Yeah.
You want those long fluttery, those long eyelashes. What's the name of your business?
The Naya collection.
What, Lanaya collection? Okay, thank you, Lanaya. Look forward to what you have to say. And next up, we have Mr. Jaylon. Jaylon is what we call a Black nationalist. I want to create an area that is 100% Black owned everything, right? Black owned, and the people that control the schools, the hospitals, and etc. All Black owners, Black leadership, and Black educators. Talk to us, Jaylon. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well,
I think I want to live where you at. I want to see how that's going to be. Talk to us, Jaylon.
well, first off, thank you for inviting me, Kelly. And second, yes, I am a Black nationalist. I started learning about Black nationalism through Malcolm X. I learned about that in ninth grade. And as I started to learn about Black nationalists, I felt that, I kind of needed to implement something. So I started my organization in August of 2019 called the United Afro Student Organizations, but we refer to it as the UASO. And so what my organization does is we educate, unite, and empower Afro-Americans and their communities. Some of the ways we do this is through educating through our Instagram posts or on YouTube. We've also held charity events where we've given out backpacks. I'm actually planning a charity event now where we'll give out 150 backpacks to children who need supplies for the new school year. Virtual or not, you're gonna need supplies. A lot of people have lost their jobs, so we feel that it's necessary that we help because we believe education is one of the most pivotal points of being powerful within your Black community and also being free. A free-minded individual is someone who can think for themselves, and to do that, you have to be educated and knowledgeable on various topics and various things. That's really what I've been doing so far, but I try to stay within the Black community. I try to stay within Black leadership. I'm always looking towards the elders to give me information and knowledge of how I can help my people before, I leave this earth, how I can leave my mark and make sure my people can not just survive, but thrive within the next few years.
Okay, thank you so much, Jaylon. Appreciate you. So these are our gentlemen and our ladies that we have with us today. And so I'm looking forward. I'm just excited, okay? Okay, so our first topic. The first topic of discussion is social distance, right? So can someone read that for me, please? Who's gonna volunteer to be my reader for today? Oh, Lanaya done checked out. Lanaya, don't make me call on you. Okay, I'll do it. It says, in public health, social distancing, also called physical distancing, is measures intended to prevent the spread of a contagious disease by maintaining a physical distance between people and reducing the number of times people come into close contact with each other, right? So that's what the technical term of social distancing and what it actually means. But we know that due to COVID-19, it has introduced a whole bunch of different things in our lives right now surrounding social distancing. So here's where now I'm about to start picking your brain. I want to understand from the youth. We hear all of these people online. We see Barbara Ferreira on there every day. We see our governors and Trump have a lot to say. Fauci and everyone else has a lot to say about social distancing. But I want to know, how is it affecting you guys? And I want to know, what is it that you've been going through during social distancing? So the first question is, how do you manage your social relationships during the safe at home and quarantine order? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna direct that question because I feel like if I just leave it to anybody to answer, we might not have a couple of people that jump out there. But I'm gonna ask Miss Lanaya. Miss Lanaya, tell me, how has your social relationships been affected, or how have you been managing them during the social distance?
I don't feel like my relationships have been affected because I don't have any. I'm very anti. I don't really go anywhere, so it hasn't really been much of an effect on me. Cause I ship my products from home, so that's really all I'm focused. I'm not. It hasn't affected me at all.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump to Jaylon because Jaylon, he seems like he's very much out there in the community. He's probably almost an essential worker. So talk to me, Jaylon. How has your relationships how has your relationships been managing since social distancing and COVID-19?
Well, I mean, I think kind of state it first, social relationships, regardless if it's virtual, COVID-19 or not, are very important. Social relationships, I mean, have led people to the top of the top or the low of the low. You know, your connections really build you up. And, you know, they always say, you know, your network is your network. So I think it's very important, one, that we kind of state that. And I think my social relationships haven't really had an effect. I think mainly because I've been able to kind of adapt to what's happening, kind of be protein with situations and kind of adapt quickly and make sure I can do it quickly so I don't get left behind. So, you know, if I can't go and see a person, well, then I'm going to make, you know, the first attempt to either text them, you know, or call them or see how they're doing. And I'll do it often, you know, to people I haven't talked to in months, but I think it's just important to never really burn bridges. And so when you do that, it shows people like, wow, this person really cares about me. They're willing to text me, they're willing to call me, you know, and you kind of build that relationship back up. And you can perfectly do that without having to, you know, physically see someone. You know, we have to be able to understand that we won't always be there to physically see someone, but we can still build social relationships through different things, whether it's Instagram, whether it's through texting, whether it's through calling. And you can really do that. So someone like me who's always wanting to talk to people, always wanting to, you know, I always shake people's hands, I'm always giving a hug or something, you kind of learn, like I said, you adapt and you begin to be like, okay, I can't do that right now, but I'll be able to connect with you on a different level. I can be able to have a social relationship with you on a different level. You know, just because we aren't able to touch each other, you know, doesn't mean that my relationships have necessarily been burned or, you know, I burned some bridges. I was able to realize that and still make sure I reach out to people. And so often on my phone, I go through messages or go through, you know, see people I haven't seen in a while and I'll text them. I'll say, what's up? You know, how you doing? And just talk to people. That's really all it is. It's just really just talking to people.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's why I said you found that means to keep moving forward. Some people are out there in the street a lot, you know, having to shut it down, not being able to go do sports or, you know, cheerleading or whatever it is that they have going on, you know, they can feel the effects. So Mimi, I'm gonna ask you this question. It says, how do you feel when you see your friends or your family not wearing a mask or practicing social distancing, or do you even wear one? So that's the question, because I see a lot of young kids and they're kicking it and no one has any mask and no one is practicing social distancing. So how does it feel when you see your friends or family or people not practicing?
To be honest, for me, I always wear a mask because I have a fear of catching a really, really contagious illness like COVID. So I want to take as many health and I don't know the word, but I want to take as many health precautions as possible in order for me to keep my family from catching it if I ever get it, and to keep them from ever catching it themselves. Because my mother has a job where she drives people to their hospital appointments and things. So I really get worried when my mom is out there in the world and she has to be there with sick patients, you know, all that stuff. For my friends, I personally don't know because I haven't seen anybody that I usually hang out with. And if they were hanging out without a mask, I advise them to buy one or at least be careful. Try not to be around so many people at a time because it's extremely dangerous. You don't know if somebody would have COVID or not because a lot of people end up asymptomatic, which is really, really dangerous. And for that too, I'd also like to advise you all to keep washing your hands, using hand sanitizer, all that stuff, because germs are literally everywhere. So it's just, you have to be careful at all times. And you know, with how the president is running right now, we still have the most cases of COVID in the world right now. New Zealand is absolutely COVID free, but unfortunately our president does not believe in health officials and science. So either this country is doomed until 2025 or somebody is going to have to get some things straight.
Come on, Mimi. Get it straight. Get it straight. I get it. Thank you so much. That was powerful too. Somebody need to get it straight. Aswante, what about you? Do you practice social distancing? Do you wear your mask? Do you wash your hands? Talk to us.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't practice social distancing because it's not like it's hard. Because knowing me, I'm an active person, so I don't like being in the house. But I do wear my mask. I wear my mask everywhere I go. Wherever I'm at, I wear it. Regardless if I'm in the house or outside, I still wear my mask. But really, I'm gonna be honest. I gotta wear a mask because if I don't, I'm not getting. My mom not gonna let me in the house. But I just took the test. I just took the test like not too like literally 30 minutes ago because my mom made me go take it. Me and my sister and my brother, so we just took it to make sure we don't have it. So like it's like that. I'm not practicing it, but I still be prepared. I still get hand sanitizer and a mask and everything else.
Right. Your mama said you ain't coming back up in this house. All y'all been running around doing God knows what, and y'all not coming up in this house unless y'all take that test. I don't blame mama. I feel her. So I got another question for you, Aswante. So I got another question for you. What types of effect do you think it will have on people in society or yourself if we continue to practice the social distancing for too long and just be constantly having these experiences virtually? How much, I mean, what type of effects or what do you think can happen if we just keep, if we go into 2021, 2022 with living like this?
I'm gonna say because not I can't say for everybody, but I can say for myself. Basically, I'm gonna get used to it, but some people not. Some people still want to go outside, have fun, do things they want to do. So it's not like everything they're doing now. It can't really be stopped, but it actually could be helped because it's still people going outside. That's why they keep having to put us on lockdown, shutting things down, the riots and this and that. So it's like with everything going on, they can't stop everybody from going outside just to stop the coronavirus. So it's
Right.
like it's gonna affect us in different ways, and then people in different ways. Say like, oh, it's gonna make people not want to be in the house, so they're gonna go outside automatically. Some it can make them sit in the house and get used to sitting in the house, chilling, cooling, and doing different things, having friends over or going to a friend's house. It can give people different ways of coping with the situation.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What about you, Mimi? What do you feel? How you feel like if we continue to live life? I know Lanaya said that she was already like somewhat antisocial, right? But how do you feel about if we go on living like this and having to socially be present but distant at the same time?
A little bit hard because so it'll be pretty rough. Have two people. And it's usually very overcrowded. Like grocery. Start over with some better food.
Hey, wait a minute, Mimi. Do you have do you have some background noise? Is there some background noise?
No, I just muted the person who it was.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Sorry, Mimi. Go ahead on. Finish say what you were saying.
So social distancing right now and in the future is going to be extremely hard because there are people migrating. There are people who refuse to wear masks. There are people who won't take the usual safety precautions that we are begging them to use because they're stubborn and they're ignorant. So it's going to take a lot to enforce those rules on somebody because they simply don't believe in it. But in my opinion, it's either be safe or die. And there are people who have gotten over COVID, and there are people who, I don't know how to say it, there are people who are in the process of getting over it. And then in hospitals are being extremely overcrowded too, so it's just a lot. Right. And we have all this stuff put onto each other and not enough safety being enforced onto the people in our community. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad on the people.
So Mimi, I got a question for you before I go to Jaylon, which is that I hear you talking about strategies, right? Like that you feel like there's not enough strategies and policies in place, which kind of goes into our next question, which is what strategies or policy do you feel need to happen in order to keep everybody safe? So if you was to enforce a policy or one policy, right? Or order or something on your community or upon your city or state, what do you feel that is needed right now for your state? Because you live in Las Vegas, you know what I'm saying? So Las Vegas was opened up to everyone and everybody was partying while people were still getting the being diagnosed with it. So what one thing would you feel like you would want to put in place in order to keep everyone safe?
Do not leave the house unless you have a job. Do not go to the store unless you need food. Do not go out just to go out. You need to be careful because COVID has a lot of cases in America right now, and more specifically Nevada too. And I know Trump is talking about reopening CCSD schools and going to overcrowded schools like elementaries, high schools, middles. That's bad. So we need to make stuff online. We need to tell people not to leave their house unless it's some sort of dire matter. If you are not going somewhere where it is needed, you do not have to leave your house. And if you do, wear a mask, bring hand sanitizer, bring wipes, bring anything that'll keep you safe.
Okay. Thanks, Mimi. And then, like talking about, because I'm going to go to Jaylon right now, but talking about like the strategies and the policies, right? We know that like a city like Las Vegas is ran off of tourism, right? That's where they get their big monies from, all the clubs, all the hotels, the resorts. So to shut Vegas down is to shut the economy down. So talk to me, Jaylon. I want to know, like, I know we can look at it from an LA standpoint or maybe for smaller towns, but by you being a nationalist and also an activist, what kind of strategies or policies that you feel that would be needed to be in place in order to keep everybody safe? But because I think you're a little bit more mature in this area, is to keep the economy going. Like what policies or strategies you feel may need to be in place?
I think it's really mindfulness and kind of, not being so greedy with everything. I think we have to be mindful of where we're going, what we're doing, the people we're around. Are we too close? Are we wearing our masks? Are we going outside for unnecessary reasons? Really be mindful of where you're at. Be mindful of your elders. It can be selfish for someone to say, well, I'm not going to catch Rona. I'm not going to catch the coronavirus. That's not going to happen to me. Well, really, you don't know that. And two, you're always around most likely your family, your mother or your grandparents. Would you really want to see them, pass away over something that could have been stopped if you would have just been a little bit more mindful and a little bit less selfish? So really just be mindful. Another thing when it comes to the economy and businesses, I actually work somewhere. I've been working somewhere during the summer. And so there's very strict rules that are over there when it comes to the virus. It's constant cleaning, it's constant wearing gloves, wear your mask, and make sure, no one sees you without a mask. And so that's really how it's going. The economy can still run. That's the thing. It can still go. We've seen the stock market go up. It's volatile right now, but we know that businesses can continue to make money. You just have to find ways. And so when it comes to being employed somewhere, that's going to be the issue. We have to find ways where we can employ people, make sure they're safe, make sure, they're not catching anything, they're not going home and bringing anything. You come here and bring something as well. But we can continue to move the economy. We just have to find a way. That's really what it is. You see restaurants, they said, when you're inside a restaurant, the air is all trapped, the COVID is circulating. What they do, they brought it outside. You can find a way. In any situation, you can find a way. There's never a time where you say, no, this is the only option. It's not so black and white. There's always, two sides to the story. There's always multiple things you can do. The economy can run. We just have to find a way. We are strong people in general. I'm sure we can find a way.
Yes, we are. All right, Jaylon, thank you so much. Thank you guys for your information on social distancing. So we're gonna go and we're gonna read just a couple little facts just here and there. It says on the bottom right, it says youth may experience a lack of proper schooling, social isolation, and for some, exposure to even issues of increased domestic violence, and also lack of proper nutrition. So as we've been trying, like Mimi said, and you guys been talking about, we've been trying to protect ourselves, but we have some youth that are experiencing the harshness of the effects of actually not being able to go to school and not be able to get the information that they needed. Ken Herb has raised his hand. And so let me see, where's Ken at? And then Ken, you got about a minute, and then we're gonna move forward. You see Ken? I'm looking for him right now. Ken. I don't see him.
All right, now I
You guys
unmuted
see him?
me.
Okay.
Don't mute me. Kelly, thank you so much. I just want to say, I think I'm going to cut out here in a minute. I just want to say it's really nice and encouraging seeing what I'll call our young people have intelligent discussions about something that, you know, is pretty important. You know, there are those out there who like to say that this is a hoax or they're not concerned or what have you. I like to take the position that I'm not a scientist. My grandfather was, but I'm not a scientist and I don't know everything. But it does seem like I would prefer to err on the side of caution by wearing a mask regularly. And I think Jalen used the word awareness. I like to use the word awareness and mindfulness, meaning that people are thinking about things, thinking about how this might affect more than just them, but others around them. And it's just nice to see young people who I believe most of you guys might be in LA. I kind of had it on and I had some other stuff to do, but Candy has, and I'll wrap it up. I know I only got a minute. Candy has come onto my radar and the things that she does and sponsors and are involved in. Kelly, thank you for hosting this. I think you're the host. And I just appreciate you guys because at 54, I've got a lot more living to do, I like to think, and I want to be around for it. And I want to be around also to support the youth of my community. And I talk about South LA in particular. I'm a Valley boy and have been, but I want to see you guys live and be strong and thrive. And I want to contribute and support. And you're a bright guy, Jalen, and you young ladies, I want to watch you guys just fly. So please keep up the good work. I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate you. Appreciate it.
If I could, one more thing, put my contact info in. I'd love to be able to talk.
Yeah, put your contact in the chat. Put your contact in the chat, and then that way we can access it, and I can also send it directly to the youth as well. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you. All right. So moving forward. Oh wow. Wait a minute. I gotta go. Okay, there we go. Bam. Here we go. So let's move forward. So next topic of discussion, right, is violent and peaceful protesting, right? Violent and peaceful protesting. So let's read. Can somebody read this for me? Do I have to, can somebody be nice enough to read this for me?
A protest, also called demonstration, remonstration, or remonstrance, is a public expression of objection, disapproval, or dissent towards an idea or action, typically a political. Protests can take many different forms, from individual statements to mass demonstrations. It can span from a peaceful, organized campaign to a violent civil unrest and resistance.
Okay, so next, here's we go. So now I need to holler at Lanaya, right? I need to know how Lanaya feels right about now. Miss Lanaya, which form of protesting do you believe has been the most effective?
Which form?
You feel like the violent protest, it gets more things done, it gets our voices heard, or do you feel that the peaceful protest is the most effective way? Which way of protesting do you feel like is the most effective towards getting our voices heard?
To be completely honest, I feel like the violent protest gets our voices heard more. If a silent protest is going on, it seems like they just wait for you to leave. The police just surround you and wait for you to leave. If it's a violent protest, they're gonna say, "Okay, what do you want so you can stop?" And I feel like violence. Yeah, I feel like a violent protest. That's what gets our voices.
I'm gonna actually ask every one of you guys. So, Swante, what do you feel? What do you feel which is most effective? Do you feel like the violent or the peaceful ones, or have you even participated in any of the protests that have been going on in the last couple months? I don't know if it's
Oh,
Swante.
okay.
Okay.
I was muted. I'm here, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. It's been how many years of us doing you said violent or peaceful? The peaceful
Yeah.
protest and nothing if we keep doing that, it got to this point to become
Adrian,
violent.
is that you?
So obviously the peace is not helping at all. So I'd rather do the violent, but if it don't have to come down to the violent, then we can do the peace. So I'll go either way. But right now my way is going towards the violent. Because it seems like that's getting through the president's head of them stopping this, stopping that, helping each other out. You can obviously some of the police officers don't agree with the other police officers doing, but it's like everybody is in a circle of rotation. Basically, it's going in a whole circle, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's like we got to find a way to end the circle.
Okay. Thank you, Jaylon. I mean, thank you, Swante. Jaylon, what about you? I know you, like you say, you're the activist, but what do you feel like is most effective? Peaceful or violent?
I think I'd say this. I don't necessarily condone violent protests, but I will say it is the most effective way for people to hear our voice. We have been doing peaceful protests. This has been happening. This isn't new. We had the age of Martin Luther King Jr., and even after Martin Luther King Jr. passed away, we continue to protest peacefully. And the most significant way we can see that is through Colin Kaepernick, and look where he's at. He's not even in the NFL anymore. We try to send them a message peacefully, and eventually, like Malcolm X said, you get tired of singing and you just want to start swinging. And so that's what we started doing. We started swinging. We started looting the shops, and we started telling them, look, no justice, no peace. And now they're getting mad. Now they're saying, well, you want to loot? Well, we're going to shoot. The reason why we're looting and the reason why we're being violent is because of you. We learned all of this from you. You kidnapped us, and now we're going to kidnap everything that you have. We're going to steal everything you have. We're going to burn what you have, and we're going to burn what's important to you. You can't, you can't treat a person with decent respect. You can't give us, the basic rights and the basic respect as a group of people. Why should I respect you, your shops, or what you built? We built this country. We can burn it right back down. And so violent protest is going to send the message. Peaceful protest, as we see, it's just not effective enough. I would love for us to go down the street singing and being peaceful, but if that's not going to get us what we need, then I think by any means necessary, you have to be violent. And so a revolution, isn't peaceful, and that's what we're in right now. A revolution has never been peaceful. There's always a little bit of blood in a revolution, and so that's what we have to do. We have to get our hands a bit dirty, and it's sad to say that, and it sucks to say that, but that's what's important right now. We have to get the word across. I'm not going to continue to just kneel and sing, and so some white man comes and gives me the basic respect and rights. Nah, you got to fight for it. You got to get it by any means.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm gonna go back to that by any means necessary, because I think that sometimes people interpret that term by Malcolm X many different ways. Mimi, what about you? Violent or peaceful? Which one you feel like is most effective?
Violent, hands down. We live in an era very, very, very live right now. For someone who has been spreading my awareness as much as possible on my platforms like Twitter and Instagram, I can't be violent. I can't be violent in public, but I can do that on the internet. However, since history is repeating itself, as you know, from abolishing slavery, abolishing extreme, horrifying colorism, as well as segregation, fighting for our civil rights since 400 years straight, I think that violence is honestly what's getting us what we need right now. If it wasn't for as many as the violent protests were going on for weeks straight, and they're still going on, they wouldn't have arrested the cops that murdered George Floyd. They wouldn't have done what they're doing right now. They're not doing enough, but they're doing unnecessary stuff. In my opinion, they're doing unnecessary stuff. Because, they're painting murals, but that's not what we want. We want peace. And for someone who is for someone who has an extreme importance to the Black Lives Matter movement, for someone who is going to strive for that no matter what, I'm like, if we have to take the necessary precautions to be violent because that's what people view us as, we're going to do it anyway, because that's what we have to do. And it's a shame that we have to do that, since nobody likes to listen when we're being peaceful. We have no choice but to start burning down shops. And here's the thing, nobody was even doing that. It's actually a lot of propaganda. See, they're pinning it on the Black people, but I know there has been undercover cops setting things on fire. You know, it's just a lot. It shouldn't even be a lot, but we just want peace. I don't get why we have to fight for our basic human right. It's been how long? And it's like there was actually a bill that Black people were like 3/4 of a human, 3/5 of a human. Sorry, it's just too much for me. It's too much that we can't be treated how we're supposed to be treated. So yeah, I'm gonna be violent, and you can't be mad about it. You're muted.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm gonna unmute. Thank you, Mimi. I hear you, Mimi. Like it's like this is what has been cultivated in our culture, in our nation, within this racial tension all these many years, and so therefore you're gonna get this corruption. So I get it. Lanaya, I know Mimi talked about the Black Lives Matter movement, right? So like, how do you think that you can contribute to the Black Lives Matter movement? And how can you do so without compromising maybe your health or your freedom? Like you said, we talked about peaceful protesting in which we come together, but then that exposes you to COVID-19. But then if you go out there and say, you know what, I'm tired, I'm sick and tired of this, and then I'm going to be physically resistant, you may get arrested. So how do you feel like you can contribute to the movement and without putting yourself at risk?
Without putting myself at risk, I feel like the most I can do is hashtag Black Lives Matter. Keep posting, keep hashtagging. All I can think of, because yeah, it's nothing you can really do inside your house. I feel like without.
What about you, Aswante? How do you feel that you can contribute, and how do you feel like you can do so without compromising your health and safety, your freedom?
I really don't know how I can really contribute because one person can't do that much. But as a group, I would say we could do as much as we could, like we've been doing. I know I haven't contributed yet like that, but I would say if me going to the FBI and me doing things that some kids don't like to do or try to do, because they say it's either you're a fed and this is not. I really don't care about that, but I feel like if I go to the FBI, I can help out more.
You can be the change. So you want to be the change within law enforcement that you want to see. So I thank you for that. What current and social issues do you feel that should be the most important right now? Like, so if we can sum up some of the most critical issues that affect your generation, that affect your race, or affect your community, what would that be right now for you? Jaylon, what would that be for you right now?
If I could, I think a social issue that's probably undermined or that most people don't really talk about is the fact that, Afro-Americans don't have, the greatest schooling. And, that all comes with the package of oppression. Oppression is a big package, and oppression, there's a lot that comes in it. It's like, buying a little combo meal. There's a lot that comes in your combo. There's a lot that comes in oppression. And keeping the Black man and the Black woman ignorant is one of the ways that you can oppress them. As long as you don't have your biggest asset, which is your mind, right? You can forget about your house, your car, your phone, all that. If you don't use your biggest asset, which is your mind, well, you can't get any of that in the first place. If you don't, allow them to use their biggest asset, if you don't allow them to be able to think for themselves, will you always be able to control them? And when you can always be able to control a group of people, you always be able to have them do what you want them to do. And that has led us to our exact position today because we were ignorant in certain situations, not necessarily our fault, but we were played eventually. We were played in, pretty much in the end. And we could push for better schooling and really just try and, change the system that we live in, the schooling system, the curriculum that is taught, and begin to focus not only on, racial issues, but necessarily human rights for Black people, human rights for minority groups, then maybe we can actually start to get somewhere and start to understand each other. It should never be a war of races, but if we can start to push for, better education, giving people equal opportunities, which this country so-called, is supposed to have, but doesn't. If we can push for equal opportunities and really start to fight for more human rights before we can even, establish anything else, well, then maybe we can set a little guideline and come across the other issues that we face, you know, the issues with police officers and the oppression that they give.
If any one of you guys ever run for anything, I'm voting for you. Just know that I'm voting for you, because I feel like you guys got some of the most intelligent, most simplistic answers towards some of these solutions that the grown people that's running this country and our government don't even have. It's like they make things more complicated what it is, but listening to you guys, it can all be so simple, right? So thank you guys. We're gonna move on for a little bit. Anybody else want to say any last words before we move forward from this segment? Leilani Dexter raised her hand. So let me see, let's go find Leilani. Where Miss Leilani at? See you. Okay, there you go. Can you hear us, Leilani?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yes.
I did want to contribute to the second question about what we can do without affecting our health. I think
Yes.
one of the most effective things is to sit down and have those uncomfortable conversations with people that are not my race, because I constantly get people, especially on my timeline for Instagram, from the posts that I put on my story. They're like, what can I do to help? And I said, well, there's many things you can do. First off, you can start signing petitions, because in our Constitution, that's one of the best ways to get things changed quickly, is by majority of people putting their names down in petitions. And then secondly, also having those conversations of why we see racism different from other people. For example, Trump doesn't even see racism as a problem in America, which is completely untrue. And just start also fixing the systems within statistics, because we have a lot of things and inaccurate type of statistics. When he was talking about an interview about how white people are killed more by police officers, and that's just, they get that I would say they would get that statistics because they're not taking track of it more accurately.
Kelly, you're muted.
Your mic is on mute.
All right, I'm trying to move the, okay, there we go. So just a couple facts about how powerful your voices can be is that we know that with the Stoneman Douglas students becoming the youth activism for gun control, and through that, they've been able to change over 50 gun laws in different states, you know, as they move their protests from state to state. We know that the Swedish little girl that Trump was, anyway, that's neither here or there. But anyway, that Swedish, the 15-year-old student, Greta, she also was moving towards global climate change and some of the crises that we have going on with our climate. So, you know, you guys, people think that because you're young, or some people, not saying you guys, because you guys seem to be very strong and powerful, but a lot of you feels like what Aswante has said, which is that, dang, I'm only one person, I'm only a kid, I'm only 18, I'm only 17. What kind of change can I make? What can I actually do? But together, you see, like you say, PA 50 gun laws, and then with one person you can get the worldwide support that's needed in order to make a global change. So that's I wanted to give that. Those are facts. So Leilani kind of opened us up into our next segment where we're going to talk about our local and national government, right? So she was talking about voting, and she was talking about voting when it came to our people, you know, youth in different races. So let's talk about it. I know this your subject, Jaylon. I know you over there itching. I know you over there itching to get in this one, right? But here it is. It says, youth civic engagement is defined as working to make a difference in the civic life of one's community. These youth are usually engaged in our local and national government. And usually it's broke down to 4 pieces, right? One being civic action, participating in activities such as volunteering or service learning to help your community. That can, so obviously I was going to give you an example, but just say if you're dealing with the homeless crisis that's in your community, so therefore you and your couple of your friends make sure that you clean up, you know, or either homeless encampments, or either you go give homeless people food and, you know, different things like that, and give them the hygienes that they need in order to stay clean, or masks, whatever. Civic duty, willingness to make contributions to society, civic skill, as well as social cohesion, right? So those are the 4 kind of elements in which we talk about it. So let's get into our discussion. Based on the examples of the types of civic engagement, are you involved in civic engagement, and if so, on what level? I'm gonna come back to you, Jaylon, because I already know you involved, but I want to hear to the extent. But I need to ask the other young ladies and the men, what about you, Lanaya? Do you feel like you are involved in any type of civic engagement with your community?
No, no, not really. I don't.
Wait a minute, Lanaya. I really think you are, based on the fact that you do community cleanups. Don't you do community cleanups?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do. Get off that. You on the other phone. You on the computer and the phone. What you Instagramming, Snapchatting? What you doing?
Nothing.
Okay, but you do. So why do you involve yourself in the community cleanup?
I mean, as community cleanup, I involve myself because I don't like litter. I don't like seeing our streets dirty. You know, like, I don't litter, so it really makes me mad when somebody throws something out the window of your car, or, you know, just something like that. So to contribute, I help clean up. You're on mute, Miss Kelly.
Sorry. Okay, so what about you, Mimi? Mimi, are you involved in any type of civic engagement, even prior to COVID-19?
Not as much as I'd like to be, but I am engaged in some way possible. Like, as you know, because like when I go to the masjid, there's a cleanup in October. Not just the cleanup, but you give out food to the homeless people, you give them resources, you give them clothing, food, all of that. Especially for the winter season, you give that out, and it makes me feel like I just did a lot for my community, because a lot of homeless people who are Black live on the west side, so it's pretty heartbreaking to like see that. So in general, I wish I was more involved, and if I was more involved, I would do so much more. And on a personal level, I'm not as engaged as I want to be, but I'm engaged, and I believe that I am.
Thank you, Mimi. Appreciate that. Aswanti, do you feel like you're involved in civic engagement? Any type of civic contributions or movement, or to change your community?
I'm be honest, no. The only thing I have done in the past year or so was give out backpacks with my sister. But other than that, I haven't did really nothing to help the community or anything else. Yeah.
But that's fine. That's contributing. That's giving out, you know, making sure that youth that may not have the means get the things that they need. So still, you're still contributing. Whether it doesn't have to always be on a large level. Sometimes it can be on a small level or an annual level. But thank you so much for what you guys done. So talk to us, Jaylon. Talk to me. On what level are you civically engaged?
I try to make sure I'm always civically engaged. I wouldn't give myself a necessary level, because I believe we can always go above and beyond what we think we can do. We can always be, you know, better than what we are at the current moment. But I always try to make sure I'm involved in civic duties, whether it's me doing something on the side that I don't tell anyone. I may give money to someone who's homeless, or, I may do little small things as well as I may do big things like giving out the backpacks. But one of the main reasons behind it is that I think the more you give, really, the more you receive. And I think there's no really real reason to live life if you're constantly getting and never giving. One of my teachers once told me that, in life, you're almost like an apple tree. You grow and you kind of, you have your apples. And so someone comes and picks an apple off you, right? And when that person eats that apple, you hope that they'll spit the seeds back in the ground, and hopefully some water and sunlight will grow, and you'll grow another apple tree. So, if you're constantly giving, hopefully you inspire someone else to do the same. And so there's really no reason of living life if you're constantly just going to be getting. You might as well give back. That is important to life. We're all human beings. And sometimes we find ourselves being a little bit too selfish, constantly, talking about what am I going to do? What is my next move? How about we talk about, what is our society's next move? What is the community's next move? It's important to always keep your eye out for your community, always keep your eye out for other people. These are your brothers and sisters, they need your help. So it's important to make sure you can do whatever you can to help them. And, I know it can be hard. It's a struggle, but in any way possible you can help, it does not matter. As long as you help, you've done something.
Okay, thank you, Jaylon. Lanaya, if you can, on a scale of 1 to 10, right? 1 being an epic fail, 10 being like dope as shit, right? How would you rate your local and your national government? So if you look at Trump, if you look at the politicians in or Gavin Newsom, the governor, how would you rate where you feel the government is at right now? Do you feel like the national government maybe like a 4 or 5, but then your local government is trying to make changes and they may be at an 8 or 9? Like, talk to me. How do you feel? How would you rate our local government?
They had a 0. I feel like they had a 0 because I don't like all the violence that's going on. I don't like black people getting killed. They not doing nothing about it. If the least they can do is step in, put the cops in jail, justice for every black person that's been killed, or including a black male that was angry, like, and they trying to say it was suicide. Like, they can step in. If it's against the law now, I know it wasn't back in the old days, but it is now. You can step in, you can do something. So I don't feel like they're doing a good job. And then the man they let be in office, it's a no-go. I feel like they doing a terrible job. They need to be fired, all of them.
Thank you, Lanaya, and I thank you for your honesty and your truth. Mimi, on a scale, how would you rate them?
47. I'm muted.
Yeah, sorry.
Fine. I said a negative 47. The government really, really, really sucks. And I'm not even kidding. Like, the way they run things is just really bad, because you're supposed to be here to be for the people, not against them. And they quote unquote say they are, but here's the thing. If you wouldn't treat your peoples like they don't deserve anything, and you give them, especially the community, the proper resources, because they need it. If you're not doing that, you're not being a good governor. You're not doing what your job is telling you to do. And then that makes me think, like, why would you sign up for that job? Is it for some sort of position of power? Do you like abuse of power? It makes you think.
Man, that was a cold statement right there. Say that one more time. You said, why would you sign up for this job? And finish that statement.
Why would you sign up for this job? Is it because you want a position of power? Is it an abuse of power? It makes no sense.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mimi. I appreciate that. That was a powerful statement as well. Aswante, what about you? If you rate on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a fail, 10 being dope, talk to us. How do you feel our government is at right now? Yeah, our government, the president, the councilman, the mayor, the governor.
I'm gonna be honest. They don't get a rating on my scale, because they ain't really did that much since Trump been in office. I would say that. I wouldn't say I want Obama back, but since Trump been in office, it's just been often. Cause my mom, she'd have been on a jury, and she done seen trials that didn't happen, that wasn't supposed to happen the way it happened. Even with my brother, I know a couple of friends that hadn't had trials that happened. So it's like the way everything is set up and how it runs for everybody's life is not in a good way, and it don't help out with nobody in the way it needs to be. Miss, you muted.
Sorry, sweetie. Jaylon, talk to me. How would you rate it?
The national government is going negative, and the local might get a 5 out of 10. We have a couple areas to fix, but the national government is 0, and it's been getting to 0 for me for a while. I would say maybe the Obama era, I could give them some points, but I think it's a negative for a while because I believe that the government has manipulated the Black man and woman. I think as long as Black people believe that some Democrat or some Republican is going to come and save them and give them all the rights and things that they need, well, to be honest with you, you're a complete fool. These people have been getting your votes for years and years, and still we have some of the same issues that we've been having. Why do you continue to go back to something that you know is going to produce a negative result? These white Democrats have come to us for years and tried to, get us on board, say, we'll do this for you, we'll do that for you. And there's been no result. And we're still in the same situations we've been in for hundreds of years. As Black people, we have to begin to do for our own and start for our own. And that's what Black nationalism is. It's not saying that we want to segregate. It's not saying that we hate any group of people. It's saying that we've been patient for too long. Why are we sitting here waiting for a group of people to give us what we want? Why don't we eventually just say, hey, look, we'll do it ourselves? And that's what Black nationalism is, starting our own businesses, running our own communities. If I'm gonna live in a Black community, then someone who represents the community should be Black, right? My mayor should be Black. The people in the districts and the House of Representatives should be Black. The senators hopefully will be Black. You're representing me, right? It's a Black community majority. At least represent me, represent what we have, and they don't represent us. And they try and tell us what we need instead of realizing that they can't be in our position. You're not necessarily gonna be in my position, sadly. I have to be the one to be able to tell you, look, this is what we're going through. You can't see it from our lens. Allow us to be in the position of power to do and change what we want for our people. We got to stop letting people that don't look like us make laws for us. We got to start making laws for ourselves.
I have a question for you. Who do you feel right now in politics best represent your generation or represents you racially or your, whether it's genderly, whatever? Who do you feel like best represents you right now?
I think and I was thinking about that. I saw that question. I had to really.
Jaylon, hold up for a second. We lost you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I can hear you now.
I was saying, I may need to do a little bit more research, but I would say the only person I could really go towards is maybe AOC and the people she's around. I think, they have a very progressive mindset. I disagree with them on a few things, but I think those are the best people. But I don't think anyone really right now is representing us at the highest level. And, I definitely don't agree with the Democrats. I don't agree with the Republicans. They're all trying to play you. They're all trying to get your vote. Malcolm X said the Democrat is a coyote and the Republican is a wolf. They're both canine. They both eat meat. The coyote is just sneaky, right? The Democrat is sneaky. He's going to tell you, I'm going to get you all these laws. I'm going to come in your community, buy your food, and love you. As soon as they get in office, they're right out. They don't care about you. The Republican knows. The Republican Party knows they don't like you. They don't like you. So really, not too many people represent us at a great level. And we really have to free our minds and start to.
I have a question to the rest, to Mimi, to Lanaya, and Aswanti. Do you feel that is anybody, you guys can jump in, but do you feel like is anybody that represents you or that you may feel kind of any hope in right now?
Not at all.
Not at all? What about you, Aswanti?
Wait, can you say that again?
Do you feel like is anybody right now in politics that represent you or represent your generation?
Me?
You, your generation, your.
In politics, I wouldn't say in politics, no. In politics, no. But in otherwise, like rappers and people that's trying to help out and protesting that's helping out, then yeah. But in like politics, no, not at all.
Okay. Mimi, what about you?
See, I had hope for Bernie Sanders and then he dropped out. So I have no hope at all for politicians.
All right. What was it about Bernie that you liked?
Well, at least he wasn't a completely terrible person. Like I know he was about his actions. But like, I'm not very interested in presidency because, well, it's all just propaganda. They were going to pick a new president anyway, so the voting is absolutely useless.
Right.
On top of that, people don't take voting seriously.
Right. I think that really they wouldn't take voting seriously, especially after this last national president election, because we were all thinking, and I think that that was our fault, that we didn't really educate ourselves to understand politics, whether we were young or old and we couldn't wait till we turned 18 to vote, that we really felt that we had a, I guess, power in choosing who our presidential, election, in a president election, who was going to be our president. And that's not how it goes. You have to choose your local government, and your local government then chooses who they feel that will best represent us nationally. So that was something that I think we all was discouraged and disappointed about. And we went out to vote. People felt like they went out to vote for nothing. So I appreciate that. So we getting ready to go into some questions and answers from anybody from the attendees, and then we're gonna wrap this discussion up. So the facts, it says voter turnout among 18 to 25 years old continues to be lower than any other age group. And I think you guys kind of spoke about that, right? Which is that I heard you give your government 0, and I think Jaylon said he might give the local government a 5, and the national, everybody gave him a 0. They got an epic fail. And so therefore, like you said, it's no hope in that my voice will make a change on this level. Why do you feel, I'm gonna ask this question to Jaylon and we're gonna move forward, but why do you feel like our it's low from 18 to 25? When you guys talk about getting our voices heard, why is the voter turnout so low?
I mean, really, to give you the most, plain and basic answer ever, it's going to have to be straightforward. They don't really care. And I see that a lot with the people that I go to school with. People aren't necessarily educated on how important it is. Like I told you, education is so important. While at the same time, not everyone cares. Not everyone can sit down and indulge themselves, within politics and really, read and do the research. That's not necessarily what people, nowadays like to do. When you have so many distractions like your computer and your phone, you'd rather do that. So you're going to see a group of people who aren't too interested in things that may have been interesting back in the day. But really right now, the way I see it, not too many people care and not too many people are educated on it. And that's what we really have to do. That's why at school, you see people trying to sign up the young people early because they realize how powerful they are. It's only until young people see their value and their worth and how powerful they really are that maybe we'll have a better turnout. But we young people have to see our worth first. We have to see how much value we add to this country, and I guarantee you we'll be able to change whatever we set out to change, because really the youngest people right now are really moving things. We're really pushing things.
You're on mute.
Mimi be having my back. Thank you, Mimi. I love
That
you. Oh, that was you, Lanaya? Thank you, Lanaya. I thought that was Mimi. I'm sorry. It says young people are not at the center of political decisions making, even though almost half, listen to this, you guys, half of the world's population is under the age of 30. I know you guys might seem like it's a whole bunch of old people running everything, which it is, but just know that over half of the world's population is under the age of 30. And 2 out of 3 countries do not consult young people as a part of the process of preparing poverty reduction strategies or either national development plans. And this is some of the things that you were talking about. Jaylon said we have to be at the forefront. We have to be asked, what is our opinion? What is working? What is it that we need, right? So I'm about to come up off of the screen sharing right for a bit. We're going to have some questions and comments from the audience. And so let's see what everyone else has to say. And we can open it up. So I'm going to ask everyone to, if you have a question, to begin to, should I unmute everyone and then you guys mute yourselves, or how are we going to do this? We're going to raise our hands. Jennifer, what is it that you want to do? Or Gia, what do you feel like we should do?
I think the raising of the hands would be the best way to go. If everybody's off mute, I think it will be a little chaotic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so does anybody have some direct questions that they want to ask our young people right now? or any questions come up in the comment section?
No questions in the comment section.
No questions? So I'm putting it out there to the audience. Does anybody else want to ask the questions, their own personal questions to these youth directly? Because if not, we're gonna wrap it up.
Well,
Okay. Hi, Coach. Coach up in the house. All right, Coach.
first of all, let me say that I am extremely proud of all of you guys for what you believe in, for taking care of your own community, and your thoughts doesn't go unheard. I know that I want to thank Kelly for putting this together, because this is a great start for you guys to continue to do what you believe was going to take place in your community in the future. I would add that you guys need to perhaps get to the human rights structure. I believe it's on Wilshire, but they show you how to put together all of what you want on paper, and then you get out there and you get people to support what you're doing worldwide. So again, I just want to say congratulations to what you guys got going. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, so if we don't have anybody, no more questions, no more comments, then we want to get our final thoughts from our panelists. What are your final thoughts?
There's a question from Facebook.
Oh, okay.
The question is, how or in what ways can we increase civic education and awareness so youth can broaden their political influence?
Mimi, raise her hand.
On social media, there have been websites created for all the issues in the world. Like, there is this site called Card, and people have made cards dedicated to Black Lives Matter, for Palestine situation, for Iran situation. There are people who know what they are doing, and there are people who can compile these informations, broadcast them on Twitter, put them in your links, put them in your bios. People are trying to spread awareness as much as possible. And if you're spreading awareness, the youth, because a lot of youth use social media, they will start to see and they will start to understand, and then they will be influenced by these political views. Like, for as long as I can remember, there has always been that one racist kid because their ideology was influenced by what their parents have put around them. So they never really grew out of it, but you have to teach them at a young age, otherwise they won't understand, and then they will continue to be ignorant and then completely let all these issues get swept under the rug.
Okay, thank you, Mimi, for that. I'm going to share my screen right now because we're going to go to some of our final thoughts. Okay, so here's the thing. We got our final thoughts from each one of our panelists today. You guys have been like so brilliant. Like, I am so impressed. Like, you guys don't even understand. Like, I am so impressed because I have different kind of conversations with so many youth of different races, different backgrounds, you know, from the west side to the east side. And I'm just like, man, I just really picked the best out the bunch today. And so I'm just really excited about where you guys are headed in life. Like, I want to be a part of it. Keep me in tune. I'm trying to tap in with all of you guys. I want to vote for Jaylon, and I'm gonna move to his city when he get that city up and running. I want to be in the Black folks senior home when that happens. But Lanaya and her products, Mimi, I don't mind coming to you. You can diagnose some of my childhood traumas And a Swante, like, I can't wait to, you know, I don't want a Swante in my business though. A Swante gonna be an FBI agent. I don't know if I want to see a Swante coming or not. He might be coming to indict me or arrest me or something. But okay, so Mimi, final thought. But do you want to give us any closing words? Anything you want to leave us with? Mimi?
Honestly, no. But what I'm gonna say is Black lives always matter. All lives will matter until Black lives matter. Period.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you, sweetie. Aswanti, excuse me. Aswanti, what is your closing words? What do you want to leave everybody with before we leave out of here?
I would say, I know none of y'all graduated high school yet from the paper, and it says y'all age. So I would say the way y'all going now, and how y'all talking, how y'all speak to each other in a group like this, I feel like y'all gonna get somewhere. Like, just keep thinking the way y'all thinking now, and y'all gonna get to where y'all want to go. He gonna have his area for the Black people. She gonna have her job, this is now. Y'all gonna make it to where y'all want to be. Don't change your mindset for nothing and nobody else. Just stick to yourself.
Yes. Thank you, Aswanti. Lanaya, any last closing words before we get up out of here?
Black lives matter. Black businesses matter. Shop my collection. That's it.
Yes. You don't have one of your little promos that you can, you know, we can see something that you've done. You didn't bring it, huh? You gotta stay ready, Lanaya. You better stay ready. All right, the Lanaya collection. All right. That's cute. Thank you, Lanaya. What about you, Jaylon? What is your last and final closing words for the attendees and the panelists that's on here today?
I would say, you know, in general, thank you for inviting me to this, and thank you for putting this on, because, you know, that is the positive things that we need, keeping our youth, you know, interested in things like this, keep us focused and keep us moving. It was a great panel here, a lot of well-spoken people. I can definitely see a lot of power in each individual that was here. So that was great to see. And really just summarizing everything, you know, there's a lot of change that we still need. There's a lot of education and knowledge that we still need. There's a lot of, you know, minds that still need to be woken. We need some more free thinking individuals who can think for themselves and not, you know, be manipulated or encouraged by things that, you know, don't need to encourage us in the first place. But as we see, we need a change, and we're living in probably one of the craziest times right now. I'm surprised that, you know, things are really happening the way they're happening, but when push comes to shove, you got to push back and you got to push harder. So, you know, we're gonna get through it, and I think these positive conversations like that drive that. That's the fuel that you need. This is the vehicle that we need to get our youth where we need to go.
Thank you so much. I want to, I don't know if maybe my team might want to say anything to the youth that were here today, but I do want to say that once again, I'm so impressed. I'm so proud, and I'm so humbled by just everything that you guys said. And it really, you guys really centered me today, because sometimes by me being in the trenches of all things discussed, I get scattered or I get numb or I get tired and I get burnt out. But you guys really centered me, and you guys gave me hope for my future and for the future of our community and well as our government and everything. Jennifer, would you like to say anything?
Yes, before I give a closing remark, we did have one more question come in from Facebook, and the question is, how can we get youth involved in elections?
Anybody want to answer that? I could, anyone want to jump out and say, how do we get youth in participating in our up and coming elections?
I would say stop treating us like kids just because of our age. Because like you said, the way we talking and the way we sound and how we can speak on stuff, how adults don't know what we're speaking on, you can obviously see that we know what we're talking about and we can know what we can help out with and put in with, basically. Miss, you on mute.
Anybody else? Mimi, I know I've seen you get ready to say something as well as you, Jaylon.
I would probably say, I mean, that's a really hard question. I actually didn't, it's kind of, I don't know about that question. That was a good question, whoever asked that. And it was definitely one that makes you think and have to do a little bit of research. I know that social media is one of the ways that, the young people are influenced right now. To be honest, which is really hard to try and see how we can do it. The push to try and put something like that within the schools will probably get blocked because we're trying to put things that are even, a little bit higher than that. And those things get blocked by the government plenty of times. And those things aren't, into the system as well. So really it has to do with maybe the parents. Maybe we can maybe if we educate the parents and, the parents could try and drive it onto the children and mainly do it by action. Maybe that could help. Another thing that helps people is sometimes when they see what can happen if you don't do something, like if you don't eat healthy, well, look what your body will look like. If you don't do this, well, look what will happen with this. Maybe we show them what happens when we don't vote. What happens if, you don't express how you feel, the negative results of what will happen. Maybe scare them a bit. I guess you could say that, and see what the result will produce. But really, I'd have to do more research on it.
So I'm gonna ask you guys to give a shout out to any youth or any organizations that you guys work with, volunteer with, partner with, or Jaylon, shout out your organization.
So my organization is the UASO, which stands for the United Afro Student Organizations. The UASO Academy is our YouTube channel, so it's spelled just like that. You can look that up. The UASO.net is our website, and the UASObusiness@gmail.com is our email. Me or one of the members of my organization will respond, but it most likely will be me. So that's how you can contact me. And the UASO.net has everything you need to know about my organization, everything we created, everything we've done. So you definitely want to go there if you ever want to find out anything about me, how to contact me. My number's on there as well, so that's where you want to go mainly.
All right. Mimi, is it any organization that you associate with?
The name, no. Islamic Relief. That's it usually helps orphan children, children in war-torn countries as well as refugees. It's about giving back to the community and helping out and saving their lives.
Thank you, Mimi. What about you, Lanaya? Any organization you associated with? You want to?
I associate with Chapter 2.
Okay, but share it.
I mean, I associate with Chapter 2. They're located on Florence. They help you out with a lot of Miss Kelly.
Yes, thank you. That's Chapter 2 in Los Angeles. What about you, Aswanti? What organization are you associated with?
Same as Lanaya. With Chapter 2. They help out. They can help you out finding a job and different things. Help you out with school. Talking about what's really going on in the world. And like really get us out and knowing what's going on.
Okay, thank you. And me, I'm associated with the Positive Results Corporation, located in Gardena, California. And you can look us up on our website at www.prc123.org, or you can also look us up on Facebook under the Positive Results Center. We changed our name. So thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate you guys being here. I left you guys on screen with a lot of the resources in the organization that's in the Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Oakland area. If you guys want to get involved with youth, or either if the youth want to get involved and be more active in their community, they can go to, especially these top 4 ones. I know that I could put my stamp on it, which is the UASO Academy, the Youth Justice Coalition, the Youth Justice Liberty Hill, and the California Alliance of Youth and Community Justice. Those are 4, I know, awesome organizations. In Las Vegas, we have the Global Youth Justice Training and Conference, and we have the Uplift Foundation of Nevada, which actually teaches youth how to get involved in community and social justice issues. And also in Oakland, we have Youth Alive, that actually, they are youth. It's a peer-led organization that actually is involved in a lot of the Black Lives Matter movement and to stop a lot of the gang violence that are happening within Oakland, and also youth uprising. You guys, we thank you for joining us. I appreciate you guys for attending. Any last words, Jennifer? We have nothing else coming off of Facebook.
No, we are all
All
good.
right, then. So you guys, we thank you for joining us with all the youth. I'll follow up with you guys after this. And this has been another Positive Results presentation. Hashtag our voices matter too. We got to get our youth more involved in the decision making. It's their future. It's their lives that are at stake, and they have ideas. You see that these youth have amazing ideas, and we want to hear more from them. So hopefully you'll join us on our next youth series. Okay. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, man.
Bye.
Good job. Good job.
Yes. Yes. So.